Hello, and welcome to the W.A.I.T channel. What Am I Thinking? A podcast where two sisters share uplifting conversations on fun and sometimes serious topics.
Join us each week by clicking the notification bell and subscribing to our channel. If you enjoy the show, use the share link. It's one of the best ways to expand the conversation. Hello, and welcome back to the W.A.I.T channel. What am I thinking? Well, today we are thinking about Married to Medicine, specifically one particular cast member, Miss Quad. I don't even know what her last name is. Do you know what her last name is?
Quad Webb. She's no longer Quad Webb Lunsford. Quad Webb.
Well, and that is a perfect name for her because she is weaving a web and people aren't getting stuck up in it. She's getting stuck in her own web of mess. So it seems like in our last episode, thanks to Miss Phaedra Parks, if she's even going by Parks, I don't know.
He is.
She recognized amongst the women that there is a disconnect with Quad, and I guess she sees herself as the peacemaker, the advocate, I don't know, but she felt that she could be the person to bring the group together, to help facilitate whatever Quad needed to get back into the good graces of the women. And I think even Heavenly was a part of it because I think they met at Quad's house, correct?
They met somewhere, the three of them.
I believe it was at Quad's house because they were commenting about how nice her house looked. And it was funny to me that even in just that little short clip that they had of them, because it wasn't very long, of the women talking, how it didn't take Heavenly long for Quad to rub her the wrong way.
Well, I think that's just Quad's nature, whether she realizes it or not. So that was not too surprising.
And that's the thing that gets me about these friendships on these shows. Are they real friendships? Are they genuine friendships? Or are you doing this for good TV? So based on Heavenly's confessional, I don't know. What do you think, Tracy? Is Heavenly truly Team Quad, or it's hard to read? I just don't know.
Heavenly would like to be, but she is truly has no allegiance to no one other than herself, and it seems Jackie.
And
So he does not know how to toe the line and be loyal to anyone else but herself, and like I said, maybe Jackie. And I have a feeling that she could be disloyal to Jackie if the circumstances were set themselves up correctly, but it just has not so far. But she just it's not within her, because if we remember her former friend, who they were, because you talk about them, are they real friends or not? When you make a friendship through the show, it's a different friendship than, say, like Jackie and Simone, who were friends before the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the ones who make friendships because of the show, those are more tenuous because you are kind of finding your way. You're kind of listening to what the bloggers are saying and what the people on social media are saying. And you can drink your own Kool-Aid and, lose yourself, which, Heavenly is kind of full of herself a little bit.
Well, and I think that it would be difficult having two people in the room that are full of themselves, because we know Quad definitely is her cup overflowing.
Well, you have
overflow.
because you must have Phaedra in there. Her stuff doesn't stink according to her. If you really want to think about it, Miss Southern Belle. So you had three people there who think very highly of themselves, very highly of, and there's nothing wrong with confidence. It's nothing wrong with tooting your own horn, but within reason.
Okay, all right. So we had that little scene. And I know that the women, aside from Heavenly having some idea that something was going to happen, the other women had no idea that Phaedra is behind the screen, pulling these puppet strings, trying to pull everyone together. And when they got to the funeral
Well,
part,
can I interrupt?
oh, go right ahead.
Well, I think they had an idea because it was Phaedra who brought Quad to Sweet Tea's event, her bridal shower. Remember?
Yes, I do.
So they had an idea that Phaedra was behind it. They just didn't know if that was going to be her first attempt or her last attempt. And they learned it was not her last attempt.
Oh boy. Okay. I mean, honestly, the whole funeral thing, it was just so cringeworthy. It was just beyond over the top, and I even wondered the person that owned the parlor seeing, he could not have possibly thought that was great advertising, free advertising for his business.
What, do you remember who he is? Do you remember him? How the whole process of her. So this was literally her trying to resurrect Quad's friendship in the group. Literally, that's what she was trying to do.
It fell so flat.
That's what I was going to say. Give it a grade. What grade would you give it?
I'm sorry, but I would just give it literally a straight up F.
Yeah. She does not know how to take accountability. She blew it with Toya. She really didn't even try with Toya. Once she saw Toya was not going to make it easy for her, like the rest of the women were kind of doing when they were still in the service before they went to the meal. Once they got to the meal to sit down, then I think everyone was really seeing Quad ain't changed. Quad ain't trying to change. Quad is still about Quad.
I'm not even sure how Toya and Quad ended up sitting next to each other.
I know. Unless that was her efforts to think she was going to soften Toya up at some point, because they have in the past just allowed themselves to get over things. But she obviously forgot that she went for the jugular with Toya, and she truly chose Anila over Toya. And as we see, Anila is no longer on the show.
Right.
So back move Quad.
Right. That was a very bad move on her part. And I think that and we've had side conversations about the complaints both women have. Okay, so Quad, who at the time she was building her home, a single woman who she could sleep with whomever she want, whether it was her contractor, her gardener, whoever.
Exactly.
That's not a biggie. But to accuse someone of home invasion,
Yep.
theft, adultery,
Yep.
it's like, and that's just what we know.
Right. I mean, she's always trying to put them on Front Street for their finances. Yes, they had their financial woes, and they talked about it on the show. And how long do we drag somebody for that?
But the bottom line with them, and I don't even look at the address where they're living. Are they packing up? Are they moving? Because the bottom line is, as long as they are paying those bills,
Correct.
If they want to have a relationship with moving companies, fine. That is between Toya and her husband.
That's correct.
That's not a biggie. And for them to really, what I feel the big thing between Toya and Quad is jealousy.
Mm, yeah. She would definitely never admit that. Never admit that. But even if it's not jealousy, there's definitely a lack of respect for Toya and the way she chooses to live her life, which is why she feels like she can drag her. But the other thing is, Toya, unlike some of the other women, Toya has never had a fear of Quad.
No, she hasn't. She doesn't have a fear, quite frankly, of any of the women.
True. But some of the women would tiptoe around Quad because they did not want to deal with her wrath. Simone didn't. Simone would step up. She didn't care. I would say Jackie would give her a pass, but I see she's not really doing that as much anymore. She kind of, she'll say more in her confessionals, and she'll more make faces when she's with them in person. She doesn't waste her energy a lot of times engaging, but she doesn't have to because Heavenly does it for everyone.
For everyone. For
So,
everyone.
So it will be interesting to see where Phaedra lands with this because, as we talked about previously, what she was saying in her confessional and what she took the opportunity to say to Quad in person after everyone left, they did not match.
So let me ask you this, because clearly her She Is Risen, it fell flat. The women weren't buying it. Even the person that hosted the event for her seemed to feel. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Wanted her to eat some humble pie, and she chose not to.
That is one thing that that's a sticking point for me. You at some point you have to stop and look at yourself. And sometimes being introspective is hard. It can be very hard looking at yourself, identifying faults, acknowledging faults. It's not fun, but that's where growth is.
I agree. And all of them have had seasons where they have had to do that. Except I don't see that with Quad. And if I'm missing it, somebody put it in the comment section. Somebody let me know where has there been the opportunity for her to admit fault, admit missteps, and have some growth. It's always a clap back and you came for me. And so, there is no accountability ever.
So the bottom line, we know that Jackie wasn't drinking the tea. Simone wasn't drinking the tea. We know Toya is having no parts of the tea. That leaves Heavenly. She got something else in her cup, I think, though. I don't think she has tea.
Correct. She's sipping on gin and juice.
So is there still a place for her on this cast?
Well, since you happen to use tea, if you would leave it to sweet tea, she would probably say, I don't have time for it. But I don't think she cares. She just wants to be respected if she's going to be around and not dismissed in the way that and because that was disrespectful to bring her to her wedding event. Disrespectful. So,
but would you let me ask you this? Let me ask you this, and I want you to weigh in on this. Do you think that this cast has grown beyond the antics of a Quad?
Not as long as you have Heavenly there.
Okay.
Yeah. If Heavenly were not to be there, then I would say yes. But as long as you're going to entertain the antics of Heavenly, then you cannot be so to throw Quad to the side. I don't care for it. I don't think she's adding anything. I think it's just causing more problems and discord and unnecessarily. And I'm not here for that kind of drama. But I don't know I don't really see a need or a place for her. And what I would hope is that Heavenly would learn from that she has to rein it in some. She doesn't need to be as nasty as she is. She can be funny, but she doesn't need to be nasty.
I think that both of those women, Quad and Heavenly, that is the part of this show that I don't think they get, because some people, they find that type of behavior entertaining. I do not.
Same. I don't either. Yeah. And if there, even if it was for a moment, ongoing, no.
It's constant. It's constant. Yeah. And the deflection is where I really I draw the line. And when I gauge my interest in these shows on how often do I fast forward. And not, when I'm looking at this franchise, and we're talking about Married to Medicine right now, not the Housewives, but that's become a repeating theme for me with the Housewives franchise. I am not happy with certain housewives, and I don't even want to hear what they have to say when they are alone, so I just fast forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and that says a lot. So I don't know if the producers are really kind of looking at the full big picture, but I have to tell you, as long as they are getting the bang for their buck that they are at the BravoCon stuff, they're going to keep it going. They have no reason to really do major changes. But what I want them to learn is, look at the New York new season, the new group of ladies, and no, you don't have to be scared of recasting.
No.
You just have to be smart. You just have to be smart about how you do it and when you do it.
And I really think, I know that people have their fan favorites, but sometimes, like that television program that's on for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you need a refresh. And It does get to that point where you get tired of the antics, and you may not want that franchise to go away. So then it's time to let's shake it up a bit.
And stop rewarding bad behavior. That's one of the things I don't want them to continue to do. Don't reward bad behavior.
I agree.
So that's where I'm at with that. So Quad versus everyone. Are you with Quad or are you with everyone else?
Leave your comments in the comment section. We want to hear from you, because we definitely want to know what you are thinking.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely ours and should be taken as such. Our thoughts are intended purely for entertainment purposes. Please do not take anything we say as fact or advice. Thank you for listening.